Welcome inside another edition of the Neishloss Podcast, presented by Neishloss Fleming. I'm your host, as always, Mike Asti, and on this edition of the show, we're going to talk about a major carrier in a neighboring state of ours. Maybe a state we'll be able to get to here soon, maybe be able to travel to soon with our brave new world that we're advancing to, and we're going to be talking about Aetna in Ohio. And again, want to remind you to hit that subscribe button, bottom of the video, to help us get all of our content to you. To have this conversation, I'm going to be joined by Paula Gilliam, who is the broker manager with Aetna in Ohio, one of the broker managers down there in Ohio. In Northeast Ohio is her specialty. So Paula, first off, thanks for joining us. Definitely appreciate you jumping on the show. Happy to talk to you. And I definitely like the sign in the background there promoting Aetna and the flag there. So we're definitely happy to have you.
Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you so much for inviting me and having me today. And hopefully the information that I will share will be helpful to your brokers and your agents. So thank you.
I definitely think it will be. And that's the point of this for sure. Again, Paula Gilliam, broker manager in Northeast Ohio, as we're going to be talking about Aetna in Ohio here on the Neishloss Podcast. And to get things started, Aetna is a carrier that has a solid brand. It's been around a while. It has success. It's one of those premier carriers for sure. And Ohio is a market that's also pretty prevalent in the Medicare space. A lot of competition in the state of Ohio, a big market, a lot going on there. And since Ohio offers so many opportunities to agents and offers so many opportunities just in general in the Medicare space, why do you believe that people gravitate to Aetna still, and Aetna is able to have success outside of just the strong brand name? Because as we know, the brand name is important, but you can't ride off just the brand name on its own.
Yeah, that's a great question, Mike. So, one of the biggest reasons I think that our brokers tend to gravitate towards writing us is, first of all, we have what's called our multi-state network. And what does that mean? It means that your clients, your members, our members have access to care when they need it, where they need it. So, for example, I live in Ohio.
Right.
I get sick. I'm on vacation. You just came from vacation. I'm on vacation in California.
I did. Yeah.
And I get sick, and I need to have care. Well, with our access to care with our multi-state network, I can actually have care in California, in place for up to 12 consecutive months, and pay the same cost share as if I was actually in Ohio. So I don't have to, get well first, and, for folks that, normally are using Medicare Advantage, normally they'll stabilize you and send you home.
Right.
Well, that doesn't happen with us. We take care of that member in place where they're able to have their care, and then they can come home. So that's, one of the things that we do very well. So we harp on, you'll see our broker managers talk about having access to care when they need it, where they need it.
Right.
And I'll give you another example. Let's say that, you're here in Ohio, it's cold in Ohio, and that we have family members that are in another state. And let's say I do get ill, maybe I have a heart issue, and they can't take care of that heart issue here, or they can take care of it, but they don't have a great reputation for maybe doing a stint. Maybe there's somewhere else in the country that does that. It gives your members the availability to be able to go out of the state, have that care at another facility that maybe has better outcomes, and stay there for up to 12 consecutive months. So that's one of the nice things about having access to the Aetna portfolio when we're talking about our travel benefits for our members. Another thing, I'm sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another thing that we have, and a lot of people don't tend to think about it, but let's say that you're in an accident and they have to life flight you somewhere. We have something which is, we call it wheels or wings. If they have to life flight you from, let's say, Youngstown to maybe Cleveland Clinic, which is, about 70 miles, mm-hmm. but a 15-minute life flight, it can cost up to $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Yeah. Most plans out there actually have to pay a co-insurance of 20% up to 50%. we have the exact same copay, whether or not it's wheels or wings. In addition to that, we also have emergency transport out of the country. So if someone's actually traveling and they do get an accident somewhere else, I'm from London, and I'm in the UK, and I get sick and they have to be life flighted to the local hospital. You're paying the exact same copay as you would pay in the United States. So that's a couple of things that I think are great advantages to having the Aetna portfolio for your brokers.
And we're going to get to the plans and even more benefits as we go. But yeah, I think that's all really important to make it clear, because people never expect, or you wouldn't figure someone's going to expect to have something catastrophic occur. But it's nice to have a company that you can be taken care of. You don't have that added stress. And there's so much financial cost for everything that goes well beyond just a trip to the doctor that can pop up at any time. So that's a major benefit for sure, to have a company like Aetna that's willing to go a step and beyond with benefits, really have a diversified portfolio that we'll get to in a second as well. Paula Gilliam, broker manager in Northeast Ohio, as we're talking about Aetna in Ohio. And I also got to tell you, you mentioned Ohio being cold. I've experienced Ohio and it being cold many a times. Not that we can say much here about in Pittsburgh. It's also cold here. So you never know when something could happen if you're traveling. But to move on to the nitty gritty with Aetna, because that's also why many are watching this show, I'm sure, to learn really what Aetna's got going on here in Ohio. You mentioned on some benefits, but Aetna has a well-developed portfolio of plans. To say the very, very least, Aetna has a lot going on all through the Medicare market and pretty much every different facet you could have in the Medicare market. And I've touched on past shows. You can go back through the channel and find conversations about Aetna's Ascendo product and even final expense as part of the Aetna supplemental contract. A lot going on, but just in general, Aetna has a well-developed portfolio of plans consumers can choose from. What are a couple Aetna plans that stand out that you really feel like agents need to be familiar with, that have been popular, that have experienced growth, and why you always need to do a needs analysis that you noticed are popular amongst a large segment of people out there?
Certainly. Yes. Well, the first one I would actually bring up, Mike, is the zero premium Premier HMO, which is available in all of our core counties in Ohio. So we're actually, we call them submarkets. So, Youngstown's different than Akron, Canton, which is different than Toledo. Right. Cincinnati and Dayton, Columbus. So, but we have these core products, and one of those that's been a really good seller for us has been the zero premium Premier HMO. It is a no referral plan, but more than that, if you're looking at Plan Finder, a lot of times people will tend to go to Plan Finder to look stuff up. Not always the best way of doing things, but when you're looking at cost, this plan actually has a zero deductible for all tiers of our 5 tiers of our drugs. So zero deductible on the drugs, and our insulin. We've got that insulin program in Ohio as well as in the United States. So our insulins are actually at tier 3, so they have first dollar coverage. So that's something that people are really appreciative of. We have the travel advantage. So even though it's an HMO, it gives our members the availability to actually go again, have that 12 months out of the state, and have that travel advantage with no referrals out of the area. So even though it's an HMO, they're able to use it out of the state, which again is huge for us. This plan also includes the dental. It has vision. It also has our hearing aid benefits, and folks get actually $1,250 per ear per year. So they can actually walk out of, they need hearing aids, they can actually walk out and actually get a hearing aid at no cost. They have a lot of different colors, styles, and what have you. So those just some of those additional benefits that they actually have access to.
That's big, because I know hearing aids can be expensive. That's big. I know that trying to convince my grandfather for many years to go in that direction, and him being resistant, and the money being part of it, and all of that, I think more maybe just stubbornness on his part. But yeah, that can certainly be a cost for sure. That's big.
Yes, definitely. And then, and of course, with COVID, where people have not been able to get out, one of the things
Right.
I really like about the hearing aid benefits is actually they're able to get out to the home. They have mobile units that they're able to get out to visit the members. So that's really nice.
Okay.
And then we have also transportation on the plan. So if folks need non-emergency transportation, they're able to have up to 12 one-way visits, and that's for 60 miles. So from the pickup to wherever they get dropped off to, that's 60 miles. So they've got that, plus they have meal benefits after actually having an inpatient hospital stay.
Mm-hmm.
So if they go into the hospital in January, they have that, and they're as an inpatient, they can get meals after that stay. If they go in again in March, they get the meals again if they go back in again in September. So they've got multiple times they can actually have access to that benefit. The other plan that we have, which is a really nice offering, is our zero premium value PPO. That is a really good seller. We've sold a lot of it in the Toledo and also in the Columbus markets.
Okay.
We had some changes in Columbus, because in Columbus last year with the value PPO, they actually had to purchase the dental and the vision.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for 2021, they added it as an embedded benefit, so now they don't have to pay, and so people are, brokers are very appreciative of that. But that also has the access to the multi-state network. It has all the bells and whistles, as I said before. It has the dental, the vision, the hearing,
Right.
and for our PPO in the state of Ohio, we actually have all acute care hospitals in the state of Ohio are in our plan. So folks don't have to worry about, well, is that hospital covered when they're actually having services done? They just have to remember that all acute care hospitals are in the PPO network and they're able to use it.
That's really nice. That's really nice to remember for sure. And that also is a nice added touch, because I know that sometimes is a concern for agents of a plan or a major carrier not having enough with dental and then feeling like they need to add an ancillary, or the client's not comfortable. So to boost that in big, that's a big added boost. And of course, these are plans that give you tons of benefits at a low cost or at a no cost, and that's a big deal as well. And of course, you can always certainly contact any of us. You can contact Paula to learn anything else about what Aetna's doing and any more of their plans that are certainly available. Because if you type in that quote engine anywhere, you're going to see a lot of Aetna, whether it be on the Med Advantage side, Med Sup side. Aetna is all over the place. Paula Gilliam, broker manager in Northeast Ohio, but certainly knows about all of Ohio. They're talking about Aetna in Ohio here on the Neishloss Podcast. Now, we talked about some benefits to this point of some of these plans already, and why some of these benefits really would create Aetna being at the forefront and an advantage for many in the Ohio market. But what do you think, and this might be hard, I know this might be a tough question for you, but what do you think is the single most attractive benefit out there that Aetna is currently offering, or at least one of the most attractive benefits, since Aetna is offering a lot? They have a diversified portfolio, there's a lot of plans, a lot going on, but still a challenging time. Agents might not have 3 hours to sit and have milk and cookies with somebody at the kitchen table, so they need to kind of get out their pitch and tell them what Aetna is doing as quick as possible. So with that said, what would you say is that single most attractive benefit in the Aetna plans that agents need to be aware of and need to make sure they bring up?
That is a great question.
We ask tough questions here on the Neishloss Podcast. I couldn't throw you softballs all day. I had to throw a fastball or a curveball in here every now and then. So I know it's tough. I appreciate the thought.
So I would say that, the single most attractive for our plans in Ohio is what's called our no copay stacking. So
Okay.
What is that? Well, for most Medicare Advantage programs, anytime that someone goes into a provider's office and has more than one service, there is a copay associated with that service. So if you go into the doctor's office and they do an x-ray,
Right.
and they do blood work, and then you have to pay for the doctor, every single one of those services has a copay. With our Aetna products here in Ohio, this is excluding the DSNP and
Sure.
our DSNP products,
Sure.
which will talk about in just a minute if we can.
We can, absolutely.
Yes. So it gives that member the opportunity to pay the highest copay for the day for any services that they receive at a specific provider. So if I go into my specialist and my specialist does blood work, I go into the cardiologist, maybe he's going to do my stress test today. He's going to do blood work. He's going to do some other testing. I'm going to pay the highest copay for that day. So if the highest copay for the day was $50 for that stress test, maybe the doctor's copay was $40 and then the blood work is $15. I'm going to pay that $50 and those other copays will be waived. So that means that your members have that financial cost sharing relief, and it's going to help them with their maximum out of pocket. A lot of times we think in terms of, what's the maximum out of pocket? What does it cost? When you think about the financial benefits to having that no copay stacking for your members, that's probably the single thing that I would actually make sure that I have that conversation with my members, because you can ask them all day, how do they use the doctor? How do you use the specialist? How many times do you go? Well, what do they do when you go? So
yeah, right. Right, yeah, that's absolutely important, and that's something that maybe not everyone thinks about. And of course, Aetna is offering a lot in terms of benefits as well that we can talk for hours on end about, I'm sure, here. Again, Aetna doing a lot in Ohio, but I think that's a big deal that you hit on. And you also mentioned the D-SNP route, and that's something that Aetna's heavily focused in as well. So what's Aetna doing D-SNP-wise?
Well, D-SNP-wise, we actually have the D-SNP in actually 30 counties in Ohio. It's the same plan across all of those counties, so you don't have to look, is it different in Toledo from Northeast Ohio? Is it different in Youngstown? Major benefit to our clients is that we will take all MSP levels. Now, why is that important? Because, ssometimes for folks, it's not what they're not using, it's what they are using. So for example, maybe someone is maybe a Slim B, maybe they don't go to the doctors a lot, but maybe they need dentures. So we have dental coverage in that D-SNP program, which is $3,000, which includes dentures and implants. It also includes $515 for eyewear. So I don't know about you, I used to wear glasses all the time. My glasses cost me quite a bit of money, and $515 is pretty good.
Right.
We actually have the vision, we have transportation on there, we have the over-the-counter benefit, which is $240 per quarter. They get to use the CVS. There are certain stores that can actually go in and get their over-the-counter. But one of the biggest benefits for our D-SNP clients is that they all have access to our a case manager that will manage their case on a case-by-case basis. So they all get someone specific that they can talk to, plus they have a team of people that they can talk to. So if someone maybe lost their eligibility, who do they go to? Well, normally they'll go back to the agent, and the agent's going to have to try to get in touch with Medicaid to take care of that, or I'm not sure what they call it in Pennsylvania, but the Job and Family Services here in Ohio. Well, that team of folks with our case management team and those advocates can actually help them, reapply or get their Medicaid started again. So those are some of the things that we do, and we do very well. It's, I think best in class when it comes to that model of care that we have with our D-SNP. So if folks have not already taken a look at our plans, I do encourage them to, take a look at the plans in Ohio where we have them. And I'm sure in 2022 we'll probably have some expansion going on.
And we'll probably bring you back to discuss that on the show as well. We'll definitely bring you back to have that conversation as well, as everything can be changing, and Aetna boosted and improved and enhanced their plans even from a year ago. So I'm sure that a major carrier willing to do that and willing to adjust will make people even more interested as the years go by. So that's going to be a big deal, and we'll definitely have you on to have that conversation. Paula Gilliam, a broker manager in Northeast Ohio, as we're talking Aetna here in Ohio. I also just recently got familiar with the cost of glasses. I never actually had to go glasses or contacts. My vision's Fortunate here, knock on something, that my vision's been fine to this point. My fiance is dealing with contacts and all of that recently, so definitely familiar with that, and that can be a big boost. And I also think having that almost extra support, that advocate, I guess you could maybe use the term advocate in those D-SNP plans, I think that is a major difference maybe of other carriers, and that is really, really nice, because yes, the agent wants to help you if you call them and have a question. Yes, we would as well if you were your FMO. I'm sure Paula would as well. Everyone would certainly do so, as serving the client is the number one, and then the money is going to certainly come after that if you do everything properly. But having that extra advocate is also going to be really nice for the client, because that's somebody that's advocating for them personally, that knows their case personally, and things can get complicated in a way in the D-SNP part of Medicare as well. So I think that's really, really nice that Aetna's doing. Now, I will say, and Aetna has a well-developed portfolio of plans. Aetna's offering a lot. Aetna's all over the Medicare market, really in every different facet. Aetna's benefits are certainly top-notch, and as Paul alluded to, are going to potentially even improve and increase as we move into another year, and not too far away from AEP right now. Even though we're just hitting summer, we're also still already talking about AEP and getting ready for that. But in terms of selling Aetna in Ohio, what are some challenges that you're aware of, and what's some advice you could still offer to overcome those challenges? Because as we know, nothing is perfect.
Sure, and I think you alluded to it before, Mike, is that we have a lot of competition in Ohio. You know, every carrier is out here. We have the major carriers, plus we have some smaller ones. We had some folks come into the market in 2021 that are new to the market, specifically in Northeast Ohio. So, you know, I just encourage our brokers that, you know, when they see things like that, to remember that, you know, the consistency. We've been in this business, since 1965. We paid the first claim in 1966 on Medicare. So we've been doing this for a long time. Learn the products. What is it that person is looking for? It's not always about the cheapest PCP copay. It's not always about, I can pay, a zero from my PCP. How are they using it? Do they travel? Ask those questions. Is that no copay stacking something that, has come up in the past where they were paying more than one copay because maybe they go to a specialist and they're doing, specific tests on them. So, I always tell my brokers, when I'm working with them, ask those questions. Yes, it's nice to have a zero PCP copay or even a zero copay when you go to that, provider. But, if you look at Aetna, look at our network, where is it available? If you want to travel, are you able to travel with this? I mentioned the no copay stacking. I also mentioned the fact that you're able to have that emergency transportation or, the ambulance copay. Another thing that, some people have had an issue with, over the year is, of course, the question of MOOPs. The MOOP has had increased for us for 2021. And again, we take a look at all of our figures. We've taken a look at it, and less than 2% of our Aetna clients have actually met that MOOP. So we ask those questions. Well, ask your client, did you meet your MOOP last year? How often are you doctoring? What's important to you? Right. And that's really the way that you overcome those objections or, maybe concerns that people have. But I think, we're a player. We continue to be a player in the market, and we have a strong brand. And I think the fact that they're able to have access to, of course, the expertise on our leadership team is also helpful to your brokers.
I think having a strong leadership team, it often can go from the top down. Having that customer support that I think Aetna does very, very well, having the benefits, having the plans, it all comes together. And yes, branding is very, very important, and you can ride so far on branding, but especially in this time, people are looking into plans, making sure they're getting the right benefits, they're aware of things, and it's also just challenges will exist with anything, just about being honest with the client that, hey, this exists, but ask the right questions, as Paul was alluding to, and you can get around things. And really, it seems like there's a plan for everybody. There's something for everybody in one of these Aetna plans, no matter what side of the market most benefits you. Now, I will also say Aetna is a major carrier that we deal with here at Neishloss Fleming. Ohio is a major market that we deal with, as that's our neighboring market for sure here, as our home base is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So we're not too far from Ohio, and we deal with agents who are having success with Aetna in Ohio, and we do so thanks to Medicare Center, which is definitely an online enrollment platform that we have at our disposal thanks to Integrity. You can look up doctors, prescription drugs, you can use it as a quote engine, you can enroll people right there. We have a bonus program called Greenhouse that can add more to your potential pockets as well as your bonuses and feel more rewarded. In addition to just that commission, we have a great marketing team here that certainly can answer any questions, help you service-wise as well. We have an in-house graphic designer. We have leads at our disposal. We have a Ready, Set, Go program. We can dive further in that really can provide extra incentives that can connect to leads, etc. for agents that are newer to working with us. We have a lot going on here, of course, our YouTube channel. So again, remind you to click on that subscribe button. It is at the bottom of this video. It'll help us get anything to you, and it is free to do so. So really, I see no reason why not to click subscribe. Find us all through social media on LinkedIn and Facebook, and now on Instagram at Neishloss_Fleming. You can also hit us up on our website at NANDFINC.com. There's going to be shows there talking about carriers in many different markets and what's going on. Many different tools also. Snoozy, a digital marketing company that we work with, that really helps agents with social media marketing, as well as create a website, maintain and post on that site and social media channels. That's big. YIG, that's big. All throughout the channel, you can go back and watch those shows and really learn about everything that we have to offer and that you can really be involved with here by being involved with us. So Paula, I definitely appreciate the time. Any final words you have here about relationship with us or about anything that Aetna is doing in Ohio or just in general here? Any words of wisdom for us as we close the show?
Yes, a couple of things. And again, thank you so much for having me on this morning. It's the partnership with Neishloss has been much appreciated. And again, you're just over the border from us. And again, we've have a great partnership with you. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that you do these podcasts and you have the training for your agents that they can go on any time of the day and get the information that they need, plus the support that they're able to get from all of you. I will say here in Ohio, we are starting to think about certification. Mm-hmm. Our certifications are actually going to be opening up early this year on the 29th of June.
Okay.
So they'll be able to, go and take their AHIP and take their the Aetna certification. So that's something that's coming up. So we're in May. We're almost there.
Mm-hmm. We're almost there. Yeah, it's crazy. It's really snuck up on us, but yes, we're almost there.
It has.
Yeah.
It definitely has. And then also we do have some. Through our CVS retail program, we do actually have CVS retail going on right now. So I know because of COVID, a lot of that stuff had been shut down with some of those other retail locations. But we do still have in Ohio access to the CVS location. So if there are any brokers out there that actually are looking to, maybe new brokers or, someone's looking to get leads going into AEP for 2022, they might want to think about the CVS retail program. And if they need any information on that, they can actually contact their local broker manager in whichever part of the state they're in.
And that's going to be something to really note this year because we're in a little bit of a brave new world. The last couple of years, obviously, retail programs out in person, obviously people can still have success digitally, certainly can still have success, and people have certainly been still out there selling thanks to digital marketing, thanks to our technology. But have that experience of those retail programs and being able to get out there and get out there, on your feet, that grassroots marketing, that's going to be more able to happen this year than I would say certainly last year and maybe even the year before. So that's important to note as well. Paula, we definitely appreciate the time for sure. We'll definitely have you on again to talk about what Aetna is doing here moving forward as we keep moving further throughout the year, and AEP will be here before you know it, but I do want to enjoy my summer first. Paula Gilliam, Broker Manager in Northeast Ohio, as we talked about Aetna in Ohio here on this edition of the Neishloss Podcast. Want to remind you again, hit that subscribe button, follow us all throughout social media, and find other shows here throughout the YouTube channel. Hit up any of our playlists, near and far, what we're doing with Senior Moment, as that's kind of a comedy-filled program for you, but you can also still learn a thing or two. I'm involved in that as well, and of course here at the Neishloss Podcast. So for all of us at Neishloss and Fleming Integrity Marketing Group, for my producer Ryan Bergman, for all of us here, and for Paula, I'm Mike Asti. Until we meet again.